everything right, it was you and me.
Hello everyone, my name is Nayeema and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. And today we have a very exciting video, and that is sports romances. Right now I'm kind of in my sports romance era. I've been reading so many of them. You guys are going to hear about them in my wrap up, but I could just not wait to film like a sports romance recommendation video. I might have never done one of these before, which is really interesting. So there's a first time for everything. I'm very excited. And also, if I seem a bit frantic in this video, I was literally in the midst of packing for my friend's wedding. Tomorrow I'm flying out to North Carolina and I'm a bridesmaid in her wedding. If you guys have been following me or have been around since I started, which is in 2020, you probably wouldn't know that I made like a really good group of girlfriends that also started their channels like around the same time as me, and I'm still good friends with a lot of them. My friend Mary Grace, who her booktube channel was MG's Library, she's getting married and it's this weekend and I'm so excited. And she asked me and our other friend Reagan, who I was also in her wedding December 2021, to be bridesmaids in her wedding, and that is just so exciting. But I'm literally so stressed out. I'm frantically packing, and randomly while I was packing I was like, oh crap, I have no recommendation video to go up tomorrow. So I paused everything. You guys know that I'm trying to get back on a routine, get back on a schedule, get on my Zoom. I miss you guys and I want to make content, so that's why I stopped everything to film this, so you're welcome. But anyways, it is just such a good feeling, I will say. Watching your friends who you met through like reading romance is so special. Like seeing them get married, it's just like there's no feeling like it, because you just know how much of a hopeless romantic they are, because you're also that way and you both connected because you love reading romance books. And to see them get their happily ever after, their HEA, is just so special. And this will now be my second wedding that I've been to, that I've been a part of my like booktube friends, and that just means so much to me. So yeah, I decided I'm gonna do sports because hello, it's fun and I'm in my sports romance girly era, and I want to share with you guys some really good sports romances that I've been reading. But yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm also editing this tomorrow on the plane and letting it go up at 12:15. It's gonna be so chaotic, but like I gotta do what I gotta do. So without further ado, let's get right into some sports romances. So the first sports romance that I would love to recommend for you guys today is one that I literally just read. I finished it today, started it today while I was at work, and that is Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I believe that is how you pronounce her last name. I've been hearing about this book for a while, and Elizabeth O'Rourke has truly blown up this past year, and I really wanted to read this one. This follows our heroine, and she has just gotten kicked out of her old school where she used to run track for her college. Top girl, track star, and she gets into a really bad fight with someone and she gets kicked out of school, gets kicked off the team. She transfers schools. She was on like a D1 team and now she's on a D3 team, and so everything's new. She has a lot of trauma and a really bad reputation, and people don't like her and people always want to push her buttons, and she's just going through a lot. Really, running is the only thing that helped. And then we have the coach, who has heard all about her. He does not like her attitude. He thinks that it's like just crazy and that she just goes around beating up people, and that she isn't really, he doesn't want her on the team, especially because she kind of like, her running back at the D1 school was very sporadic. She wasn't consistently good. It was like very on and off. And so he was like, great, like your running's not that great. She has a horrible attitude, like I don't want her here. And right away these two just butt heads. From the moment they laid eyes on each other, it's like awful. She's like, I don't know who this is. I don't know why he's like giving me these awful looks, why he's judging me. And then she finds out that that's the coach, and they already just don't like each other. He's like, I know who you are and I don't want you a part of my team, and one strike and you're out. And she's like, you're an asshole. Like you literally just suck. You don't know what you're talking about. As time goes on, like I told you guys, our heroine has a lot of trauma and she is going through just so much stuff. He starts to find out different things about her and he becomes her one and only rock. She has no family. She has one family member, and that's her grandmother. No family in this small town, and like she just has nobody, and he is there for her. And it is truly such a great book. I listened to the audiobook today and I ate it up. It was so interesting. And honestly, I never was that interested in like track when it comes to like sports romances. It's just not really that I see advertised a lot, or you know, whatever, but so interested. I was like, oh my gosh, are her times good? Is she gonna beat this person's time? Are the other people on the team who are being Reagan's calling me.
Hi, I'm sorry.
You're fine. I lost my train of thought. But basically, like, I just got so invested. I was like, okay, so this is what the time that you need to have. You need to beat this team to make it to semifinals or whatever the hell. And I was just so into it. And their romance was amazing. It is forbidden on many aspects. Number one, that is her coach. And that's obviously just like not allowed. And number two, he actually has a girlfriend. So trigger warnings for cheating. There's also trigger warnings for murder of a pet, loss of loved ones, and just so much trauma that really affects her life. Not in a way where it's like so crazy hard to read about. Does do things in result of her trauma, but it's not like anything that is crazy hard to read about, at least for me. I don't know what you guys have going on, any traumas that you may have, but it wasn't horrible to read about. It wasn't like a very dark romance. So yeah, I love this book. I would highly recommend, and it was amazing, and I definitely think you should pick it up if you want a good sports romance. It was also different because I don't read many sports romances where our heroine is the athlete, so that was different, and I just thought it was so fun. That was a coach, and that was so forbidden. I just loved it all. Excuse me, book, where are you? I recently redid my shelves. I'm like, okay, so great, I can't find anything or what? Oh, it was literally right here the entire time. The next book that I'm going to recommend is one that I just also recently read. Like I told you guys, I'm in my sports romance era. I'm eating them up. Each and every one that I've read is hitting, and I just like want to be a little wag. Is that what it's called? Wife and girlfriend? I don't know. Of an athlete. And I am talking about The Rivalry by Nikki Salone. I just read this and I freaking fell in love with the story. And I really didn't think I would. I have read other Nikki Salones before in the past and I've really liked it, but I don't know. When I was reading the back of this, I couldn't really understand, like, okay, why is it such a big deal that our heroine goes to the rivaling school of like the hero? It didn't really make sense to me. I was like, okay, how can this be a whole romance book? But when I found out that it was Ohio and Michigan, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I loved the story. Sorry about the glare on the book. It was insane. So let me paint the scene for you all. We have our heroine Kayla, and she has grown up immersed in Ohio State fan culture. Her dad was a coach for the Ohio State football team, and then the mom was a cheerleader, I believe, and her mom actually went into labor at an Ohio State game, and she would not leave to go deliver Kayla until they won the game. Kayla, growing up in that environment, like, she's a diehard fan. She went on to go to school there, obviously, and now she is the captain of the cheerleading team. She bleeds red. Like, this is her thing. This is her thing. It's her family's thing. I kind of heard here and there about this rivalry, but I didn't think it was that big. But when I started researching after I read this book, I was like, oh damn, this rivalry between Michigan and Ohio, insanity. Her friend is getting married, and so at the wedding, she kind of wants to like start dating someone. Her friends are encouraging her to like speak to someone tonight, talk to someone, but her friend challenges her not to bring up football at all because it is an obsession for her. Like, she talk about Ohio, she has to talk about football. It just is a must. So she's like, fine, challenge accepted. I will not talk about football this entire night. And so at this wedding, she meets the hero, who is a football player for Michigan. Obviously, if she knew that, she would be like, like, she hates Michigan because she loves Ohio so much. They spend the whole night talking. I think they kind of have like a little mini hookup or whatever. And they went all this time without him finding out that she's from Ohio and she finding out that he is from Michigan. It comes out that he is a football player for Michigan, and it is crazy. Like, she's like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't see you anymore. I actually hate you guys. She went to like a dive bar in Michigan, and when she found out that it was like a dive bar for fans of Michigan, the way she just completely went off on everybody in there, and everybody was like calling her names and stuff. Like, the rivalry was so intense, and she feels like she genuinely cannot be with him. And I know it sounds kind of stupid, but because her family is such huge Ohio stans, they're huge fans, and so that was like the big like driving force between why they couldn't really be together. They had to sneak around. Granted, she is also the captain of the cheerleading team, and she takes her role very seriously. And so if the other members of the cheer squad found out that like she is dating a Michigan football player, oh my gosh, her life would be over. So it's a lot of that. It is kind of trivial, but honestly, it was just so fun to read about because it's like people are genuinely like this. It's like the rivalries are insane. Like, I'm so fascinated by it all. So I love this book. I thought the smut was really hot. It was such a good time, and it was just also kind of angsty while also being hilarious and kind of funny, because they're so serious about this rivalry, but like they like each other, so what do they do? I don't know. Pick it up. It was so good. Now this next book that I'm about to recommend to you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you could probably guess it because I've been talking about it so much recently. But you guys, this book might be my favorite of the year thus far. Like it's gonna be on my top list. I know that for 1000%. And I just loved this book, and I'm dying to read more from this author. I'm talking about Right Man, Right Time by Megan Quinn. You guys, read this book. Read this book. This is your sign to pick up this book immediately. Like, please do. If you like tension and angst and just like so much goodness, like, you have to read this. So our hero is a professional hockey player, and he is kind of going through a lot right now because he found out that his ex-girlfriend, who he has been with for many years, is now working like on the marketing team for his hockey team. One day he's out at a bar. Our heroine shows up at this bar. She's hanging out with her friends, and then her arch nemesis who works with her shows up with her ex-boyfriend. And so our heroine is very nervous and just like spews whatever. She isn't like super crazy annoying about it. It's kind of funny. But she starts freaking out because she has to prove that she's fine. Like, this arch nemesis is purposely taunting the fact that she has her ex-boyfriend there, and she's flipping her shit. So she's like, I have a boyfriend. He's actually here right now. And she just starts talking and talking and talking. And her enemy is like, yeah, right. Like, where is he? Show us. And she's like, oh, there he is right there. And she runs up and kisses the hero at the bar. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, if you don't want me to kiss you, please tell me in the next 3 seconds because I need to make somebody jealous. And yeah. And so she kisses him, not knowing that he's a professional hockey player. And from there, the best book that I've read of the year starts to unfold. And I don't want to tell you guys too much about this because I need everyone to read this, but he thinks that they could be really useful to each other. It's fake dating. It is so fun, and when I tell you so hot, I like can't even describe the lengths that I went through to read this book. Like, my friend was over for the Sabrina Carpenter concert. We came back from the Sabrina Carpenter concert, and I started the book to like fall asleep to. My friend is already asleep, and the next day, because the concert was on Mother's Day, the next day was my first day of work. I literally spent all night unintentionally reading this book, and I could not put it down, and my friend's snoring next to me, and I'm just like immersed. Like, it was crazy how the chokehold that this book had on me. Granted, I just had been at a concert all day. I've been up since the crack of dawn getting ready to go to the concert. I had to take 2 metros to get to this concert, walk crazy amounts to get to the concert, then do it all coming back. And I still got in bed knowing that I had worked the next day and read this entire book. When I tell you it's good, believe me, it is so good. I have never read anything like it. The tension, there's also a 10-year age gap, so that was also a factor in here. He just will not give in to the temptation that is the both of them. Like, he is so sweet and so like thoughtful and giving her gifts and trying to make her feel comfortable, but he also messes up sometimes, which is so like, I find that so refreshing in romance books, like when the guy messes up, because we all know in this world that men aren't perfect, and a lot of times romance books, like, they don't really do anything wrong. This guy messed up a couple of times, and it is like, it felt kind of realistic in that aspect. There was so much sexual tension. There was so much just everything about this book. Like, everything that I want in romance books was in this book. I hate when I'm reading a romance book and our heroine doesn't play the game. Listen, I love a little jealousy. It's fun when the guy just naturally gets jealous, but like, she will make it so he gets jealous. She will taunt and tease him and do all this wild stuff to get him to cave in. She is a mastermind, as Taylor Swift would say. Like, she is just one of the best heroines that I've ever read about, and it was truly a perfect romance in my eyes, and it's going to be my favorite book of the year. I'm telling you that. I'm not going to tell you guys too much, even though I feel like I've been talking for 5 minutes about it. Please read this book. It was so good. Would it be annoying if I changed the settings? Because I feel so washed out. I feel like this is much better. It'll really like kind of gloomy, but I'm sorry. I couldn't with the bright white light. The next book that I'm going to recommend is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. This is a book that I know has blown the hell up, and honestly for such good reason. This series has been amazing. You all need to pick it up if you haven't already. The first book is a hockey romance, and the second book, which I'm talking to you guys about today, The Right Move, is a basketball romance book with a very famous basketball player. I think I recommended it or talked about it in like a wrap up recently, but like, if you guys have not picked it up, please do. This follows the twin brother of the heroine from the first book, and he is a professional basketball player, like I told you guys. So the heroine from the first book, she met this really good friend named Indy at work, and Indy and her are like this now. Indy is the heroine of the second book, and she is currently going through a really nasty breakup. She found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and now she has no place to live because she moved to Chicago for him. They live together, they have everything together, they share the same friends, and she is contemplating like going back home. Like, she has nothing in Chicago for her anymore. Her best friend will not let that happen, and she says, listen, for now let's just get you out of that house. My brother, I used to live with him, but because she found love in that first book, he is now living alone. And she says that she's going to convince the hero to let Indy stay with him because it's such a big space, he's never there, and like, why wouldn't she? Indy is very hesitant. She's like, oh, I don't want to like have to make you do that. I don't want him to feel like he has to do that. And he is a very, very, very private person. He doesn't let anybody up in his penthouse. Like, he is very famous, so he needs his house to recharge away from people. And so at first he says no, but naturally he can't resist his sister, and he agrees to let her best friend stay with him. Right away, there's tension, there's animosity. She is a very messy, chaotic, loud, fun person, and he is just not like that at all. And so they butt heads. Oh my gosh, when they become friends, it is just such a beautiful, beautiful friendship. He does things for her that I don't think you could pay a man to do. Like, I just like, he was such a perfect hero. He knows that she loves iced coffee, and so he would always get up before her and put coffee in the fridge so she wouldn't have to put ice cubes in the coffee and water it down. Like, he would just do little thoughtful things like that. Like, he bought her a new bed and just such sweet, thoughtful things. They went on a camping trip with his boss and the basketball team owner. He knows that she's vegetarian, so he made sure to bring like vegetarian options for her because she knows that the boss isn't probably thinking about that. Just little things like that that just mean so much in the grand scheme of things. He did it all, and it was just so great. These two agreed to fake date because number one, she needs a date to her friend's wedding because her ex-boyfriend will be there. He needs a fake girlfriend because he wants to be like team captain or something like that. And the owner of the team will not let him because he feels like all he cares about is basketball and that he needs to have other things going for him. How is he like with his family and friends? Like, what else is there? There has to be more than just basketball. And so in order to prove himself, he starts fake dating Indy and she starts fake dating him, and it is such a great romance book, so steamy. I'm very passionate about all these books that I'm recommending today, if you could not tell. But yes, this book deserves all the hype that it's getting. It is phenomenal. Please pick it up. And the last book that I'm going to recommend today is one that I read, I want to say last year. It could have been the year, I think I read it in 2021. And I loved it so much. This is an MM hockey romance, and it is truly, my friend M from M Reads Romance, she got me into this series, and I just became obsessed with this book, and that is Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. I love this series. I love this book specifically. It is rivals to lovers, which I love a good rivals to lovers. These two are enemies. They're on rivaling teams. They're like the same in everything, the same position, same age. They're neck and neck. They're both #1 in their college teams, and they move on and become rivals. From the beginning, they have always been pit against each other. We have Shane, who is kind of like golden retriever but really anxious hero, and then we have Ilya, and he is grumpy and he's like the black cat, and Shane is the golden retriever, that kind of energy. And from the very beginning, before they even met, the media has been painting them against each other because they are just too good at hockey, and they have everything the same, and they're two different people, so naturally you're going to be put up against one another. And so when these two meet for the first time, Shane is like, hi, nice to meet you, and Ilya's like, no, I don't like you, because the media has kind of painted it out to be that way. So they don't like each other. They battle. They're rivals. Truly, every sense of the word, that is what they are. Until they start hooking up. And imagine the entire world thinking you hate each other, but the entire time you're in love with each other and you're hooking up. Or maybe not in love yet, but there was attraction there. Shane is gay and Ilya is bi. For some reason, even though they hate each other, there is something underlying that like hate, and that is tension, and that is like really interest in one another. One night they hook up, and I think it was when like maybe during their rookie year, and they've been in the league for however long, and they have been secretly hooking up the entire time. I love this book. I truly love this book so much. They do not get an HEA at the end of this book. There's a few other books in the series that came after Heated Rivalry, which is book number 3, and that follows other characters. But then the most recent book follows them again, things are changing. They're starting to fall in love with each other, and the world needs to know that. I just can't even explain how great it is. Describing it right now, I want to reread it because it is crazy. I've never read anything like it before in my life, and it was just phenomenal, and I would highly recommend it. Hockey Romance, Rivals to Lovers. I mean, so good. So that is the last book that I am recommending for you guys today with sports romances. I can't believe I don't think I've ever made a sports romance video before. Let me know if you guys want another one because this was fun. I really felt passionate about talking about these sports romances. I don't know, I'm just really, maybe it's because I'm, like I told you guys, in that era right now, and it's just all I can read. It's all I can think about. It doesn't matter the sport. I want to read a sports romance. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, if you want another part to this video, let me know. And yeah, wish me luck with this wedding, with packing. I'm so stressed out, it's not even funny. And I hope you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. Let me know what you guys are doing if you're in the United States. If you're not, I hope you guys just have a great weekend anyways. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you very shortly in a new video. Bye.
If I got one thing right, it was you and me.